Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, and in accordance with the resolution 2-2012, Scott Stilson from Vincent Drive is recording tonight's meeting on YouTube, and the meeting is also available for video, or viewing and audio on the Zoom platform. Next, we have open forum. Anyone on the right-hand side? Aaron? I'm assuming this is Summer.
This summer.
She looks just like me. Anyone on the left-hand side? No? Okay. Doesn't look like there's any comments. Go to the business part of the agenda. Review the draft agenda for February 14th regular meeting.
Sure. We have our normal consent agenda that we typically have. Department reports, new bills, we're going to do the bill list before a little bit late. We will rework, so we're going to have a little bit more bills this month than we typically do. There's a couple of zoning hearing board applications that are coming in front of the zoning hearing board in a couple weeks, so the township board of supervisors will have the option to provide their input. Number 4 is a resolution ratifying certain budget transfers to and from the general fund. Typically when we budget, we look at the past previous 3 years or further out to kind of know where we're going in the following year. So many municipalities at the end of the year, they just align the budget with their actual expenditures and receipts, income to make that document more clarified. So in the following years, we have accurate numbers instead of estimates. Number 5 is a proposal from Brandywine Conservancy to assist in the 2017 land preservation plan update. It's going to cost about $17,000. There's going to be another motion. We're still waiting for the proposal that will come Friday to use the Brandywine Conservancy to be the consultant for the 2025 comprehensive plan review, and also to assist the township in applying for a Chester County Vision Partnership Program grant. Essentially, that gives us significant funds to review our comp plan. For the board's knowledge, we did send a letter out to the borough, and I did receive a response from the mayor. I will be meeting with the mayor and another council member next Monday at 10 a.m. to discuss the continued jurisdictional comp plan. Making sure they're on board, that they're fine with us taking the lead with the vision partnership plan, and then determining the scope of work, whether we believe a complete overhaul needs to be done, or if we just need to look at minor updates to the comp plan if the vision still is the same. So that's a meeting that we'll be having next Monday. Number 7, we're applying for another jump grant through DCNR to potentially upgrade and repave pickleball, tennis, and basketball courts. We have a consultant working on that grant, so we do need a resolution as the grant window will open up here in a couple months. There's going to be a motion to grant a partial stormwater waiver for the Oval Park. Mike will be here to explain that more. That documentation will be coming into your board packet soon. Number 9, currently buy our road salt from CoStar's state purchasing agreement. We are obligated to whatever amount we ask for to purchase 60% of that. So we have been stuffing our bids full for the past 2 years due to a lack of space. It looks like we might have to purchase an extra 150 tons that we have no current space for. So Berks County has a cooperative purchasing agreement, which is like CoStar's. The benefit of doing that, purchasing or salt through there is we don't have to have minimums. We can give an estimate, but we're not obligated. Cost is comparable to CoStar's. It might be a little bit higher, but obviously if we don't have to buy the tonnage, it's going to be a cost savings anyway, and that does not preclude us from participating in CoStar's. It just gives us yet another option. Don Johnson's also looking to see if we get into the Lancaster cooperative as well. That would give us 3 or 4 different avenues to use cooperative purchasing, so we can literally shop for the best price. Or currently the salt that we're getting is a little too fine, and we're using a large amount over and over, especially in the last storm, because it's just not staying on the roadway. If we had other opportunities to purchase salt that meets our needs, we could do that by being in multiple cooperatives. Number 10, we're going to sell the 2003 GMC dump truck. A truck we ordered 2 years ago, should be delivered in a couple weeks. We have all the checks written for that, so we can sell the one vehicle that we have been reserving as a spare. Number 11 is we purchase our fuel through the Brooks County Joint Purchasing Program. We had a bid award conducted on Tuesday, so we have to make a resolution to allow us to purchase through the co-op. It's a competitive bid. It's the 4th year purchasing this way. The last couple of years we had no bids just due to the volatility in the pricing for diesel and gas. This year we actually got a tank wagon biodiesel price, so it's a set price. A couple releases for Chestnut Ridge Stage 1, 2, and 3, which again, Mike will be here to describe. And that is the totality of next week's meeting. So if there's any questions the board has now, I'll be happy to answer. Of course, as always, if there's items that come up that you have questions, concerns, please reach out to me, Beth, or Mike. In the meantime, so we get addressed them. And that's what I have for business meeting next week.
Is there any minimums associated with the diesel?
Yes, we have to purchase, I think, we buy 3,500 gallons, so we're required to take everything we purchase. And I can give those numbers for you. You will see in your board packet that the award sheet is in there, along with the tally workshops. So does that answer your question? We do purchase what we ask. Because it's a joint purchasing council, as it works is if you decide to purchase so much of one fuel type, and the co-op as an entity does not buy the required amount, then if we fail to buy it, they sell it on the open market, and the co-op has to split the cost of sales. But since we always use our biodiesel, we would be exempt from that, and most of that lack of purchasing comes on the gasoline side or the heating oil. So if we purchase our amount, then we don't have to split the share.
Okay. Discussion of agenda packet visibility. Warren, do you want to make a synopsis of what that means?
Absolutely. So early on in my tenure here, we had taken steps to move into an online board packet, which the board currently utilizes that part of the agenda packets that the members of the public can get on the website and also in the back of the room. Over the past several months, there have been input or statements from the community wanting to know a little bit more about this, how the board says yes to items in front of them. It can often seem that it's a very quick motion, and I guess the questions are, what information does the board utilize to be able to make that decision quickly? So after speaking with all the board's members individually, we've agreed that we're just going to release the board packet board gets to the public. So it's typically a 200 to 300 page document, and that will be made available Mondays before the meetings. So that will have detailed treasurer's reports, and it reports plans, documentations that come from the professional staff that give a background, all the information that the Board of Supervisors read and utilize, so when it comes in front of the board, they can make a deliberation with full knowledge of what they're doing. That's going to apply to all boards across the township, so Park and Rec, zoning, hearing, planning. There are some stipulations that we will write on that. I'll get to you in a second, so you don't have to hold your hand up. I'll call you in a second. You are prohibited from distributing property that is owned by individuals. So when we start seeing planning modules come in, or the architectural drawings, if someone makes a request to have us print out the board packet, we can do that, but we are not permitted to print or distribute any of those documents. We can't prevent citizens from printing them out or sharing them, but there is a liability for doing so. So I would encourage anybody that wants to print out a saldo plan, a land development plan, and post it on the internet, they should probably reach out to the architect or the named owner of that document, which is listed on them, to see if they will give you permission to distribute. So that's going to start coming this Monday, so all of that board packet will be available this Monday for next Wednesday's board packet. It is voluminous, so again, I'm sure reading it for the first time, people are going to have many questions. I would please just ask that you reach out to the staff before, again, we are mindful that it's a business meeting, so we want to conduct it in a efficient manner. So if you have a question, why is something this way, I would ask you to reach out to the staff prior to it, and I'd be happy to sit down and explain what these documents are and give you some insight, so you can come and understand what it is the board is looking at. So, okay.
Zoom, I'm getting messages from people that are trying to attend Zoom.
Okay.
And they're not, it's saying no connection or something. They can't connect on. I don't know if you have to push a button or something.
It's on now. Let's see. Make sure
They can't get in. It says you can't get in.
Can't get in.
Oh, I got it. That's me getting into the meeting into here, so I got right in. So I clicked the link on the agenda and I got right in, so I apologize, I can't really tech. But
Okay.
that's why we're thankful to have Scott here as well. I believe Scott's live streaming it as well. Thank you for bringing that up. I will take a look at it after the meeting and see what the issue is with that.
Okay.
Okay, but I just clicked on the link, I opened up the webpage, I clicked on the clickable link and it got me right in, and I can see that we're in it here. I can't see the participants over there, but.
Did anyone try from your phone?
Just let them know to try again.
Yeah, I just logged in, and I can see myself in here, but nobody else in here. Oh, there you go, someone's in. EH 1015.
Yeah, I just got it.
Okay, so people are, okay, and you
Okay.
clicked up. So it's apparently working, so I don't know.
I don't know what they're hitting.
Okay, thank you for reading it up. It looks like, thank you, Aaron, for breaking it in as well.
Related to your comments, which you just made with the board back,
Sure.
it's a great idea, and I think that may take out some confusion and some potential issues of hiding facts or data or whatever is out there. It's the same stuff that you can potentially get by doing the right to know, or so we're kind of cutting that out for people that you see what we see. Now, when it comes to decision making, that's always, you can question the decision making, but that's a personal issue with what our decisions are.
It is, and
But I
actually,
also see the facts that we're seeing.
and I would encourage people, you'll see the links as a PDF or an HTML. If you use the HTML version, you'll open up on a single screen. The left side will be the agenda, and you'll see clickable links. And so when you click that link, it'll actually show that item on the right-hand side. If you use the PDF version, it's top to bottom. So if we're talking about some item that's far down, you have to scroll several hundred pages. So the best way to use this interactively, it might be a little difficult on a cell phone. I did check, it is possible, but with iPads that the board has, and I see Sal using a Windows version of a tablet, there is no issue with having that. But again, you can watch it at home, you can open it up on your screen, you can download documents, you can download the packet. The board packet will be always on that agenda, so you can go back to this meeting in 4 months, and that agenda packet with the links will always be there. And so going forward for every single board, the only thing that will be excluded is something that would not be released for a right to know request. So confidential solicitors reports that deal with litigation or purchases of potential real estate or employment issues, those things that would not be released to the public for the right to know, they would not be part of that. But the board packet, the checklists, details, records of money in and out, all the funds are going to be there. Again, some of the documentation for land development, some of those documents are 90, 100 pages. So if we get a traffic study in for D.R. Horton, if that's 400 pages, that traffic study would be there, and that 400-page document would be available for residents to look at. So hopefully that adds some transparency to the process of governance here in Donnybrook Township. Again, it's going to raise questions. I would just really encourage anybody to reach out. I don't want you to have your questions 2 minutes before the meeting. I'd much rather you come through the door with a little bit better understanding of your questions answered prior to that. So that's what that is for.
Or as we discussed at the last supervisor meeting, please come talk to us at the end of the meeting. We'd like to run through the business part of it and do what we need to do. But if you have a question, then come up and ask. As much as somebody may not want to, please do.
I honestly don't trust you, Sal. You took a video of me in a public area, put it on a webpage. Yeah, you did. You put it on a
Somebody else took a
webpage
video of you.
about me, okay? I
So
got
Karen,
it.
again, respectfully, we've gone over with the rules of engagement. If you don't want to talk to one of the supervisors, you don't have to. I think the Sal is saying, we do have a limit with our time, and again, it's to get the business done.
And I agree.
And I appreciate that, and again, Karen, you and I have spoken a lot, and that's fine. And the saying is you can engage or not engage as you want. Limiting the time means we can talk to you before or after. And if you don't feel comfortable talking to one, you don't have to. We just want to let people know that limiting the time, just make sure, because again, a lot of these conversations we can't answer, or your concerns in a microphone cannot be adequately addressed in 3 minutes. And we're just kind of saying there's other avenues to reach out. I know many people have visited Tracy at her office and had great conversations. She's a business owner that has a visible presence in the community, and I can just tell from being here 3 years that she encourages residents to come and talk to her, whether someone wants to talk to her or not. There's an avenue for everyone to interact with the supervisors and the staff outside of the business meetings. So that's just, I think, Sal's trying to hit on.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is, by doing that, I mean, that puts your engineer home earlier, puts your lawyer home earlier. We pay them by the hour. That saves tax money.
Okay.
Saves your tax dollars, which is,
Can we get on with the meeting now?
Sure.
Thank you.
Number 3, discussion topics for 2024 budget, workshop meetings. Workshop meetings, from my understanding, started many years ago because when we had a crackdown on kennels, they were conditional uses. And a conditional use hearing goes in front of the board of supervisors. So every kennel application had to go through a detailed legal hearing in front of the board. And it was my understanding that the business meetings were running several hours long. And then at that point, they decided to implement workshops so they could do the pre-discussion about the hearing matters the previous Wednesdays to kind of make the time of the supervisors' meetings a little less drastic.
yeah, we had 10 or, I think it was maybe 12, maybe even 12 kennels that all of a sudden had to have conditional use hearing all at one time.
So now they're issued by right in certain districts and they are permitted usage, so now no longer are they conditional use hearings. So then the workshops turned into reviewing the board packets, and again, I will say that the board packet previously had been a voluminous printed document. And unlike this current system where we can continue to push updates as the information comes along and the board has access to the back end of the board packet agendas all the time, so they can look today at next week's, and not all the documents are in there, but as we update it, push updates, they have the ability to get the board packet earlier than most and continue to review it, where in the past, you would have to physically deliver these voluminous pages at the last minute. So the workshops were really to go over this documentation that really was thrown upon the supervisors to really dial down to what they needed to see. So if there's particular topics that the Board of Supervisors believe they want to discuss in an open forum that's not up for deliberation, I would be interested in hearing them because people's times are valuable in meeting just for the sake of meeting without anything to discuss may or may not be a great use of time. So obviously, come September when we start working on the next year's budget, obviously those workshops for a couple months should occur and be focused on the budget.
Right.
So I think
Yes.
September, October, yes, as we typically have. And again, depending on the projects that are coming up, where we are with our funds, obviously we may need more or less workshops. As they stand, as they have in the past year, if there's no agenda items, if there's no reason to meet, then the other sit here, we can cancel them. But if the board has discussions or something that they would like to talk about, discussing over the year, I'd be happy to hear that. Maybe I can establish some type of workflow so we know what months we potentially be meeting, what topics might be of interest, so I can do some research and get some information to create a conversation. And I will tell you, I've looked on my board of projects that I have from this year. Most of those, I pick the brain of supervisors individually. So making a budget that has a lot more information that Tracy had spoken about this last year, kind of making a more descriptive budget. We're saying this part of the budget essentially deals with X, Y, and Z, and these line items typically go to do that. We're just implementing that just as good practice. So a lot of those items, if I hear board interest, I just take that as marching orders. So if there's something you guys would like to.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea because it just makes the budget more accessible to more people.
Correct.
I think we could do that.
So I don't know, do you have specific topics that you think? The only topic I could think of is if the board's interested in talking about a single hauler contract, essentially making trash services contractual, so there would be a single bid placed out. I had looked into that when I had started, and the concern from the Solid Waste Authority is, could we be forcing services on some parts of the community of the Plains Act that might not have trash services, with the contractual thing, you know, so those are the things that might be up for a discussion at a workshop later down the road.
That's a good point.
Or the other option is, as, you know, if I start hearing from board members individually as the months go by, and I hear recurring topics coming from multiple supervisors in my individual conversations, maybe that dictates that month's workshop, and if not, you know, we can make a determination like we have, whether to have the meeting or not.
Okay, yeah, I mean, if all we're doing is releasing escrow funds, yeah, simple agenda, there's not really a reason to have a workshop to talk about that. I have a question about the saldo. Is there any other group that we could work with besides Brandywine Conservancy? Do we have any other choices?
There are many engineering firms that offer consultation services for our comp plan or saldo.
Because I know that it seems like a long time ago, but it doesn't feel like a long time ago that we firmed up our last comp plan, 2018. And, you know, it started in 2016, and we went with the borough in the hopes that we got a grant, which we did. But I think it was about halfway or 3/4 of the way through it. Then Brandywine Conservancy said, well, we think we need to charge more, even though we said it was going to be this much. And Brandywine Conservancy, you know, I just think if we'd be better served to take a look at what's available and what opportunities we have for other consultants also.
Yeah, it comes down to what's the vision of the township. If we are conservation minded, then obviously you want to seek a consultant that has that focus. Not saying that an engineering firm might not be conservation focused, but just the very name of the Brandywine Conservancy clearly indicates, and again, I think you can see the vision of Brandywine Conservancy intertwined with our saldo and our comp plan and our land preservation. You know, I wasn't here to know what the changes are. I will tell you that they're getting us a proposal Friday that will be available for the board for a decision, and that's going to have firm costs. And again, they did ask today when they're building their proposal, are they looking at hybrid meetings, in-person meetings, virtual meetings? Because that will affect the cost based upon employee travel, how many employees have to come. And again, whether we're looking at a complete revisit and restructuring of our comprehensive plan, or if we were looking at just minor updates, and the board is still happy and the borough is happy with the vision as is written, and we just maybe need to update the data numbers in it.
That's what I was gonna ask, is if you're meeting with the borough to go over which direction we want to look at going, then Brandywine Conservancy is putting together a proposal for redoing the whole
No, I kind of advise them, my understanding of my conversations here is that a complete rewrite of the comprehensive plan is probably not something that the township is interested in doing, and that we might be looking at certain portions of that plan, and again, updating the data that goes into that might help us have a better understanding of, do we need to look at this portion, do we have to look at open space, do we have to look at active, passive recreation. So they're going to give us, you know, a very detailed portion. Now, I partnership grant, and those are opening now. So they're closing, I think, at the end of next month. So if we want to get that grant for this year, we should start the grant, the comp plan this year. We should be filing for this partnership grant this round. So
Partnership grant to go with the partnership and the borough.
correct, and they would provide substantial costs for, for the comp plan, of the tens of thousands of dollars.
Right, and then the idea is that we have complimentary zoning to the borough because we're all together.
So we can share zoning, so, because we have to zone for all types of activities. Obviously, the borough is more dense, so we can put our density there. And since we have open space, we can take the open space into our section. So it's a multi-beneficial process.
That I think is something that, that bit of knowledge is something that a lot of the public doesn't necessarily know. As a municipality, you have to allow for all different types of zoning. And if we have a comp plan in conjunction with the borough, then like you said, we can take some of the industrial need that they have that they don't necessarily have the room for. They can take some of the residential need that, maybe we can take up, they can take up some of our slack. So we're able to work together. And that's sort of a help to both the borough and the township.
Correct.
So that's why it's beneficial that we try to work with them.
But I would encourage the board in taking action next week so we can so if we do this grant period, it would be awarded in the summer. And again, a comp plan rewrite is about 12 to 18 months, depending on how much work we're doing. So we're looking at a late 2025 implementation, so we're right at that 12 to 15 months. If we wait for the next round, we wouldn't get that grant until the fall, and then we would be pushing. So,
because I'm not familiar with the issues that you had with Brandywine Conservancy.
The change of cost during.
Is it potential something that we can address and get corrected moving forward, or is it bad enough that I'd rather do it right and push back the timing? You know what I'm saying?
I think
If
it's
we need to
something-
find somebody else to do it, and it pushes the timing back to next year or to another grant period, and so be it, if it's going to be right. But is it correctable what they did? Can we sit with them and say, hey, look, last time you did this, that's not acceptable, we expect this?
Well, luckily, two members of the planning commission that were on comprehensive zoning are still here. Gary, of course, and, just had a brain fart, Michelle. Melissa, yes. They're both still here, and they were in the first revision, so they're familiar, and they have enough knowledge to know, how it went the first time. So,
I knew there was some headache about it, I heard the headache, but I don't know the details of it. Aaron, did you?
That was before me, that I have heard that they're kind of, tend to overdo things, I think is what I've heard. So they're, I'm
Yeah.
sure if things were a little clearer up front, it probably would be good to use them because they've already done it, so they're
Right,
not
that's
going
the
to
problem.
rewrite the whole thing, but yeah, it would be really clear with,
Plus-
grades and things like that.
well, the last time it was the two, John Filacker and John, whatever the other John.
Goodall.
Yeah, so I just think probably maybe it's good because I can still remember the problems and I know probably they can too. So if we're more clear at the beginning, as a township, you're helping us.
Do we huddle up with Gary, Melissa, and yourself?
So I think Gary-
You guys are,
Gary's position is, he thinks that we can do it without a consultant. And he would prefer not to use Brandywine, however, again, the comp plan is the board of supervisors action.
I don't know if I don't disagree with them because if we're doing minor changes, so after the last common plan revision, we ended up having to sort of go back and look at a couple things. For instance, they're at the end of town, remember? I can't remember if you're on board yet.
No.
They're at the end of town, where the car wash is, it got rezoned, and it was commercial, and it should have stayed commercial. So we ended up having to go back and sort of revisit a couple things after the end of the last time. So, because we have two really strong planning commission members that were there the first time, I don't disagree with Gary. I think we might be able to just look at it, nuts and bolts, and do it ourselves.
Well, so I'm looking on the website now, March 22nd is the due date for the grant applications. And they're going to award them May 8th. The second round is not open until August. That closes September, and the awards are in November.
Well, if we're looking at just updating, not doing a total revamp, but updating the last comp plan, will it still take the same, it won't take the same amount of time?
There's still going to be public
Great.
participation, public input, public hearings.
The last time we had meetings at the back table, and we all just sat around, and honestly, no one came.
I believe that will be different this time.
Yeah.
I believe there's enough community engagement that you'll have a vested interest in the community and in the township. And my hope is that the borough will have some renewed interest in looking at the future. And again, depending on what we hear from the community, might drive what we wish to revisit.
So with those deadlines that you just, deadline, so is it the end of the world if we wait
No.
until,
No.
not do this first, but wait till the fall?
No, and if our comp plan comes out in 2026, we are not in dire straits.
Because it's
It's a
not
vision.
a requirement.
It's a visionary document. Now, we're required to have one because we have zoning.
Right.
But you got townships out there that are 15, 20 years since they updated their, which we don't want to go there, but.
No.
it's
Correct. So
We're
again,
going to be penalized because we didn't do something right now.
Right. Does it cost to have the Brandywine Conservancy write up a grant proposal?
it's going to be a part of the package, but part of the grant proposal is payments for the consulting, for the consultant. Now, again, the other option is I can have our grant writer that's doing the DCNR grant, write the vision partnership grant.
Well, I remember specifically the last time, we were told that they had so many requests for grants and only, it was less than half got the grants, and they said that we got ours because we were working in conjunction with the borough.
A multi-municipal comp plan will drive us to the top.
That's what happened last time, yeah,
Correct.
that's why we were able to get the grant.
And how much is the grant usually,
I think it's like $50,000 or $60,000. It's pretty substantial.
and what's the total cost of doing?
I don't have that number, because that was not.
In my mind, I remember 36,000 is what the township had to pay out, but I'm not sure that I'm remembering.
After the grant last time?
Yeah.
And then the borough, there's this one with the borough, and again, I can get the documentation, honestly.
We're getting complexity of it too, so hopefully we're not.
Yeah, and last time was 18 months, and.
An actual full rewrite. We got rid of overlays and
Yeah, full rewrite.
Rockland Station was there prior.
Right, and it was like page 1, okay, page 2, yeah. This time, if we're just doing and 2 people on site every time.
Correct. So you'll get the proposal, it'll be in your Monday board packet. Again, if you see it and you don't think it's something you need to take action on, there's no, Beth can be here to maybe add some legal input, whether there's any legal issues. I can't see it doing that. We did our comp plan in 2015, and zoning took to 2018 2018 to complete. And as we just saw, making our saldo in line with our 2018 plan occurred last year. So, the process of aligning all of these documents is a multi-year process. So if there's hesitation or the request to either talk with planning to see if they are willing to handle the heavy lifting and maybe have a consultant that just does some of the data analyst portions of it, maybe we take a look at that as well.
And what about, like having, for instance, Technicon, because he knows our zoning sort of better than anyone. He's been involved with the township. I mean, somebody's he's been involved with the township for 30-some years. I'm sorry, were you saying something?
Yeah, I said I don't like Technicon,
Okay?
Okay, well,
and that's my just
during a
personal.
business meeting, you have time to talk, and you have time not to talk. Thank you.
Well, then let me just back up.
This
Just
is
one
time
minute.
to talk.
You just said minor changes in our community. We're not having minor changes. We're having big developments coming in. Down on Route 10, they want to put 9 big old businesses, correct? At the planning committee? Down on Route 10, and multi-houses, they're not
Karen, I
small.
appreciate your.
I just wanted to say what I want to say, and I will
I know you
reply.
just want to say what you want to say, whatever.
And what
you
I'm
want to say.
saying is, this is not minor
What
things,
I'm
and I
saying,
agree with Ford.
That we have an open forum for a reason. It's not just say whatever you want to say, whenever you want to say it. Okay,
We don't trust you either.
probably not.
So, take a look at the documents. If the board's fine with it, I will reach out to Gary this week and have a conversation with him. And maybe look at other options. And again, those options might be Technicon, it might be another engineering firm that does more specialist work. Because again, Technicon does a lot, they don't also do a lot. They don't have traffic engineers, they deal with, they have another engineering firm they deal with. So again, so if Mike does not do it with their firm, they might know firms that specialize in comp plans. Because it is a specialist, it's a specialty.
It is, yeah.
Because it's a lot of planning, it's not only engineering, it's planning. And planning and engineering are two completely different specialties.
Chester County Planning Commission, I'm sure they can offer.
That's who the Vision Partnership Grant is through, and that's part of the comp plan is that the Chester County Planning Commission, it's not required, but does offer the opportunity to have a meeting with them. And they do have a fully staffed planning department. Now, I don't know if they will do the data and analysis, but again, I'm willing to go down there to go down and meet someone and see what services they offer. Again, there's benefits and risks to doing anything. With the Conservancy, obviously, as Aaron has said, and again, anybody who's dealt with the Conservancy, they are 110% in conservation at all costs. Because that's their mission, that is their core mission. As a second-class municipality, we can be about conservation, but we also have other legal requirements that we have to do fair share, we have to zone appropriately, because we definitely don't want any zoning challenges if we don't zone fairly. But again, it's how the township wants the vision. We want to find a partner through a consultant that will take the township's vision and put that into a living document that the township supervisors and the community hopefully just don't put on the shelf. And again, that's oftentimes what happens is it's a voluminous document, and to keep track of what's in the comp plan would take a whole other set of staff just to continually be working on the cycle to see if we are working towards achieving those goals within. It's an ideal, it's a wish list, it's a vision. It doesn't mean that that's the vision that we're going to actually ever accomplish.
Yeah, I don't mind the conservation part of Brandywine Conservancy. I'm for that.
I mean,
So,
Ultimately, they are our consultants, they will do as the township wishes.
That's, I think, a little bit of the problem.
So,
I felt was the problem.
well, so if the appropriate assigned member to that comp plan is firming with the statements of the township and the borough, or are the owners of the document, we can be a little bit firmer on the vision if it doesn't align with their input.
Right, well, I think, I mean, if it is in fact just a minor revision and Gary and Melissa,
Well,
yeah, you know, it's probably fine. And then one of us, well, that's what we did last time. One of the supervisors, did it also. I would do it, I guess I would do it because I did it, or unless you do want to do it, because I did it the first time.
I've never done it before, so, I mean.
Yeah.
so we'll leave it up. If I start hearing workshop ideas, I will bring it up to the board. If I'm hearing the lack of ideas for that monthly meetings and there's no question about agenda items, again, we'll do what we had done in the previous years and potentially cancel the workshops if there's nothing pressing.
Okay.
So that's what I have for that topic.
Okay, now we have other business. Does anyone, or is not any other? Okay, and now we have open forum for any other matter.
I just have a quick question. Are you guys gonna do the town halls or no?
They weren't advertised this year.
Karen?
Yeah, I just found out that the hardware store in Laybrook is now being placed back onto where Marty Kearns was. When Marty Kearns burned down, they tried to get it rebuilt, and the board of supervisors, or I can't say board of supervisors, but the township gave them such a hassle that they couldn't rebuild. And
That parcel's in the borough, it's not the township.
Not us.
Okay,
Wrong meeting.
that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, the parcel's not the township.
Are you aware of the 9 businesses that are proposed on Route 10?
That came as a sketch plan to the planning commission, it hasn't made in front of the board of
Right.
supervisors yet.
Okay.
So, the planning commission has seen it, has not got past the sketch, so they have not requested it to come in front of the board.
Okay.
Okay? And just understand that sketch plans come in all the time. I'm sure, you know, how many sketch plans have we seen for that parcel where the Dollar General wanted to be? Probably a handful of them. So just because a sketch plan comes in does not mean it comes to fruition. Parcels that are for sale, Eddie Brown's parcel, which is part of D.L. Horton, had come in front of the planning and the board for many different variations of several different plans.
Okay.
None of them have gotten built.
Right, for years.
So a sketch plan is not a formal submission. It is permitted by Saldo for the developer to have limited interaction with the administrative staff to see if it generally meets what could go into that parcel.
Okay.
Okay? So that parcel that you're concerned with, again, is this parcel right here, which is mixed-use commercial. The township has to allow for it.
Right, I understand that.
So if it's a compliant plan, and it's zoned for that area, again, we have to put it somewhere. People can be unhappy that it's coming there, but that's what that parcel is in fact zoned for. Okay? So if that owner of that property wants to use his legal right to develop as it zones, there's nothing that the township could do.
You can't say, I don't like it, so you can't do it.
If it's
Yeah,
compliant.
we can say there's wetlands there, we can say, you know what I mean?
And here's the thing, Karen, they can't build on wetlands. I've said this before, if there's 100 acre, there's 200 acre parcels next to each other, and one has no wetlands, no stormwater, no steep slopes, no pipelines, and the other one's littered with it, which parcel do you want developed? The one that has no issues, they put stuff all over it? Or the one that has all of these items that can't be built on, and the overall build-out is so much smaller because they have to net out those negative areas? Do you want that perfect parcel to be completely overwhelmed, or the one that they can't build in wetlands, they can't build in steep slopes? And those are removed from their overall total building capacity. Which one would you want them to build on? You have to build on one, which one? The one where they can build less, or the one they can build more? With the understanding that those parcels are developable.
Yeah, that's the rules.
Which one do you want built?
I'm not saying a word. I'm shutting my mouth right now. But I mean, as far as the mobile home park being made at this time, is there a limit of like an hour in which they can't go hammering into rocks?
Yes.
And what
It's in the
time
zone.
is that?
It's in our ordinances. I don't have that answer offhand, but you can find that ordinance. It's online, and there's a book up here as well.
All right, Jerry, you had a question?
Yeah, other townships around here write their grants, the township manager does that. Why don't you do that instead of, saving us some money?
So it would actually cost more because I haven't done it before. It'd probably take me 4 times as long.
Okay.
The fit
And I have-
rate is usually a lot higher too.
Correct.
And I have another question too. I understand that you have all these plans come in and all that, I understand that. And you can do it because it's open land and all this. But other townships and municipalities, they have impact studies done.
Which townships?
Oh, there's a lot.
Can you give me a
Muhlenberg had it, Muhlenberg had it, and they turned it down because the golf course, they want to turn that golf course up there into all these townhomes, and they said we couldn't afford the overtaxing for the people.
Okay.
Now, we haven't done anything that comes in here with the traffic or anything like that.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of our concerns as township people here and taxpayers of, we don't mind people coming in here, but if you're gonna have all this, there's gonna be 123 mobile homes across the street where I'm at,
Okay.
and is there gonna be any lights or turning lanes on 322?
That's
In
going to be
that facility?
all in that plan, that recorded plan.
There
And
is,
again,
there is,
you have
there
to
isn't.
I don't.
Oh, I wasn't
the
sure, I was
plan.
just asking, that's all.
I don't have the plan.
Okay,
It's a state highway, so there's a highway occupancy
Right.
permit. Since that road is owned by PennDOT establishes what traffic impacts happen there.
Yeah, we don't have any say over that at all.
okay.
So
Is
an
there-
application would be with PennDOT, there is a traffic study, and part of that, they gave answers as to what road improvements they would have to do. I don't know what that is.
Oh, I was
Again,
just curious, because it's
understood.
gonna be a bitch getting out on 322, even worse now.
Okay,
That's all I'm concerned about, is the traffic.
okay.
That's what my concern is.
We all have concerns. Developments always bring in traffic, extra people, more usage.
Yeah.
It goes back to that we are obligated by law to make use for everything. There are
But
density
there is
requirements.
also probably a law that safety has to be in the equation, correct?
Health, safety, and welfare.
Or is there no safety concerns whatsoever
Nobody's ever
with
said.
all this development
I've
going
never
on?
heard that said once.
You what?
There's health, safety, and welfare. That's the township's
Okay.
obligation. That's the state's obligation.
Yeah, it should be the state
And that's built
obligation.
into our saldo and our ordinances, which are standardized ordinances.
Okay.
No single municipality has written an ordinance book from scratch. It's been developed over years of litigation and
Right.
various cities, counties, towns throughout the country, putting zoning into place, having challenges, going through the court process, and having judicial rulings of what government oversight can be for individual property right owners.
Yeah.
So,
That's all my concern
well,
was.
you just have to understand that the township cannot write rules that
Oh,
are
it
not
is-
applicable
I didn't say
State law.
that you have to
I'm not
write
saying
the
that,
rules.
so,
I did not say that.
understood.
I'm saying is,
Have you looked into it, have you read this out?
yeah, I've seen that you changed a lot of things, and you made it kind of easier for the developers to come in here.
How
There's
so?
less regulations.
How so? Could you give
Well,
me-
what about the open land?
Could you explain that a little bit more, what you're talking about? You're being very.
No, you guys were tossing around how many more you can put on there, and the open space between the houses, and even Nettles brought that up about putting sheds in the back lot and all that other stuff. So it's like, there was concerns on the planning commission when I was here for that meeting.
Yeah.
You're just kind of squeezing everything more and more and more.
So you're saying we changed setbacks?
She was what?
You're
She was
saying-
upset with
Are you
that.
saying we changed setbacks in Zaldo, because we did not?
I'd have to read back into it, but it
Well,
got
you're-
switched.
So you're
So
changing,
instead of staying, it was 30 feet, now it's 20 feet. Well, you're cramming more and more people tighter.
I,
That's all I'm saying.
well, I know that's what you're saying, I don't believe that's what the township did with any Zaldo adjustments.
I think that was the information that was being bandied about is true.
Well, again, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
When we were
I was
having
here
a
for
discussion
that.
about adopting.
I was here for that meeting, and she did speak and was concerned about that. She was.
He's talking about the impervious coverage limitations at the,
Chestnut Ridge, right?
Yeah.
It was specific to that Chestnut Ridge.
Correct, it had nothing to do with the saldo changes, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, it was specific.
So I think
It was- I thought it was a cell phone.
It was not actually, it was a waiver request, it had nothing to do with saldo. And again, this is why I'm asking questions.
Yeah.
You're making a statement that you believe we changed setbacks in saldo, and I'm telling you we did not.
Didn't happen.
It didn't happen. And so this is why I'm asking specifics of you, because you're telling me the township did something, and I know for a fact you did not.
Okay.
And a planning commission member is right here. I know what you're referring to, but that had nothing to do with saldo. That was a waiver. And those are two inherently different items. And that's important to know, because making statements matter. If you're gonna make a statement saying we did something that we didn't, that's not factual.
Okay, okay.
Well,
Well, all I know is there's a lot
it
of
is not-
confusion. No, there's a lot of
It is not-
confusion between us and all the different committees.
I understand.
That's all I'm
You're
saying.
presenting-
You can easily get confused.
You're presenting it as fact. You are presenting it as a fact. You're telling me you just made a statement, we made a change for setbacks. That is false. And that's not fair to say, well, this is what I believe. We don't work on beliefs. We believe what is in the documents that is factually available to you. And that is my question. That's why I'm hammering you with questions. I need specifics. So when you said townships have this, I want to know what townships, not because I'm trying to put you on the spot, because I want to look into it.
Right.
And when someone says, oh, Manny, that is not helpful. And if you're trying to put forth something the township can do better, I want to do that. But I'm going to ask you, which townships?
Well, what we want to have is a little bit better safety in through the township.
So
That's
what I'm going to ask you
Yeah.
is to look through our ordinances and tell us where those gaps are.
With better safety and how?
Yes.
Well, how about some traffic lights on 322?
Okay, again, that was addressed, that that's a state issue, that is not a town.
But that's been kicked down the can for how many years through all these different administrations?
It's a township, not a township.
But the township has to initiate that.
We have, over the years, have asked PennDOT, and PennDOT at one point did a traffic study, which is why they put the turning lane on Burdell. But we can't, the state is its own entity, and we can't make the state do anything.
Oh, I didn't say that you have to make a
Well,
statement.
and now what I will tell you, if that D.R. Horton development comes in, the traffic study indicates a traffic control device will come at Chestnut Tree in 322. So.
Well,
is
see,
that-
right now you got Chestnut Ridge down the road with all those homes. You ever try to get out of Chestnut Tree Road? Like, right now you need a light, not when D.R. Horton comes in, because now it's just bad planning right out of the gate. That's all I'm concerned about, because right now you have how many people impacting the traffic now?
And you understand.
That's all I'm saying.
And you understand those two roads are not township roads.
I
Neither
know
of them
that,
are.
I know there's like a different moment.
Chestnut Tree is not a township road, it's a PennDOT road.
Not only that, but isn't there 3 municipalities?
There's 3 municipalities.
involved?
And again, it's a complicated matter.
Right. Why couldn't you get the 3 municipalities and try to,
For the same reason that all of us in the room probably won't agree on everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
Because is it where are most people going on 322?
east.
it all depends on what time it is.
Right,
So then don't forget, now you have,
So the point maybe of
Yeah.
West Nantmeal might be, not a lot of the residents come out there. Maybe the point of West Nantmeal or West Brandywine is that most traffic is going eastbound.
You
And
know
that
how many-
most aren't coming in this
do you
way.
know how many Vinzinski trucks come out of there in the morning?
I don't.
A lot,
Okay.
a lot. And that's even dangerous for those guys pulling out of there. So you not only have people, you have businesses.
And the traffic impact study actually does show the crash data for that intersection. I think they had 5 reportable crashes in 4 years there.
So I think we need to. go
Five
back to-
reportable crashes in a handful of years there. That is extraordinarily low for that intersection. I can tell you Route 100 and 113, which has,
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
know that area because I go down that area
okay, so
too.
there's a traffic light there. We were there multiple times a month. So traffic lights, did that increase or decrease? It didn't probably have an effect whatsoever.
Well, it gives you a little bit of a chance to get the hell out on the road. That's all I'm saying. Just like I remember 113 and 100 was a caution light.
I remember when 113.
Remember that?
I remember when it was dirt. I remember it was
remember
single
that.
lane.
Yeah, I do remember that.
One of our police officers sold hot dogs at 100 in the turnpike when there was a stop sign.
Right. And you had the Sunoco station on the corner.
He
with
worked
the-
there as
with the-
a gas attendant in the
Yeah.
60s. So again, like, those days are gone.
Oh, I understand. I understand.
So the point is that those aren't just, oh, we don't care.
No, I didn't say
I'm
that.
not saying that. I'm saying that there are data points, there are studies, there are trips per day that will trip improvements. And those are PennDOT documents.
We're here to be helpful to the residents and not be in opposition to the residents. So
I
honestly,
understand that.
if you have a question, you can't just assume because some person down the road told you something, that's if you have a question and want actual facts, ask. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great conversation outside of a meeting, an hour and a half. I think we came to understood each other's positions a lot better.
Exactly. I do remember that, yes.
Yeah, and there was nothing inherently wrong or bad. I don't think you walked away feeling upset. I think you
No.
probably walked away with a better realization of
Oh,
what
exactly.
I do here and what my role is here.
Right, right.
And it's just something that I didn't talk about in the business meeting because that's not the forum for it.
Correct.
The forum was you and I chewing the fat outside after a meeting,
Exactly.
and we left with a better understanding of each other. And I think
Yeah.
you and I have no qualms with talking to each other and asking
Well,
tough
we the
questions.
residents, we don't want to be a bully towards you guys, and I know you don't want, but you have to work together.
You have to ask
But
questions
here's the
outside
deal,
the meeting.
it's the paper bag theory. If you have a 5-pound bag, you can't cram 10 pounds of shit in the bag. That's all I'm saying. Like, what's it gonna take to start correcting some of the issues? That's all I'm saying. That's,
They're in the works. And again, unfortunately, that takes multiple agencies and multiple land uses to come in and make that request a reality or a necessity. So all I can tell you is that reading the traffic study, which is 40
Right.
pages, it looks like there will be some type of either a traffic circle or a traffic light at Chestnut Tree and 322 if that development comes in.
And how long ago was that taken though?
That traffic study, it was done relatively.
I mean, it wasn't done during COVID when everybody was at home.
No, ma'am. That traffic study would have had to occur after the ordinance started seriously considered developing that plan, and that happened 2 years ago. So I came here once COVID was kind of essentially over. So that plan submission occurred relatively early into my tenure, and I'm into my third year here, so it was post-COVID.
I mean, a lot of us just want transparency from the
So-
committees.
So,
You know,
so
because-
that traffic study will be part of the board packet, and you can read the 400-page document. And it does have all the theoretical uses of how they conducted the study, and what time periods, and the PennDOT documents they used, and how they monitored it, and the trips per day, and whether it was during school or not school, or, like, they have to take all that into account, and what type of studies, and then all the data they pull, and site triangles, and round trips per unit. It's a voluminous document that, again, is written by someone that just studies traffic. And that document will be part of a board packet pretty soon, when DR Gordon finally submits their plan, which they have not. And every single resident can read the 400 pages that document has and draw your own conclusion. So that's coming forth with the board packets coming forward. Unfortunately, you know, you just have to see what's coming to understand the amount of information that is very shortly going to be in the hands of anybody that wishes to take a look at it. Okay? I encourage dialogue. I just would ask that we do it any other time with the business meeting, because the back and forths are very important, because one question and one answer leads to yet another question and another answer, and we could go on ad nauseum.
Right.
And I think this partner said he's never come to a meeting again, because I kept parking right for 90 minutes, what had probably been a 10-minute meeting. So I'm happy to talk to anybody.
Okay, anybody else? Carmella? You have anything you want to say? And I'm sorry, I don't know your first name.
Oh, I'm Barbara Conway from Crestry Drive. When you were speaking about Brandywine Conservancy and whether to continue to use their services, at least in the temporary, like I think they would be important for consulting, which land should be open for dense housing or whatever. So we're careful not to contaminate any wetlands or the pipelines.
So that's part
Far away.
of, so that's part of subdivision of land development. So that's an ordinance, that's a law.
Mm-hmm.
And again, those are clearly established regulations. So the comp plan is a vision of what the community wishes its community to look like over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The comprehensive plan drives this zoning map,
Okay.
okay? And zoning is where we have to permit for all types of land use.
Yeah.
And if you look at the map, everything green can be protected,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And the majority of the map can be, in fact, protected by law.
Okay.
We use them for land preservation. Again, that's the program that gets out the information to encourage people to sell their development rights on farmlands.
Yeah, they do great work.
And they're a consultant for that. We have no
Yeah.
issues using them, because again, you want someone that is 120% to preserving every single land. You'll look at the maps and see where we've come.
Right, right.
But that's their choice to do that. You can't make them do it. That's
The
their
land
choice.
preservation is
Yeah.
voluntary
Oh,
opportunity.
yeah, definitely.
But
But we have to do the zoning too, right?
not, so we have to allow usage.
Mm-hmm.
And if all the residential parcels are purchased and built up, that doesn't mean we have to add more. We just have to show that we have our fair share, and if it's all bought, sold, and built up, we don't have to continually add.
Yeah, the one last thing I asked Tracy at the very end of that part of the discussion, you were mentioning it, I didn't know what it was, because you were talking to your fellow supervisors, like, I could do it, or you could do it, I didn't know what it was.
As far as a representative from the Board of Supervisors on the municipal comp plan
Task force.
task force, yeah. So,
Is that one of your,
I did the first time, and so we haven't talked about it at all besides just now. So, that's all.
So the comp plan, what we're talking about here, is that, it's on the, have you read the comp plan?
No.
Okay, it's on our website. Essentially, it says like, we want to be a farming community and have these opportunities, and we believe this can be here, and this can be here, and can be here. It's just it's a guiding principle,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So every 10 years, we revisit that
Okay.
overall vision of the community. That plan, which is a couple hundred pages, and again, it shows how much rec we have, how many housing, what the density is, what our schools are, what our infrastructure is, what we could potentially have as a build-out before it's too much. That document, population correct, could then dictate, have we legally provided enough
Sir.
areas that all different uses can be used. So there's a work group between the supervisors, the planning commission, our consultants, and members of the public. We will assign members of the public to this committee. They meet, how many times did you guys meet last time?
We did it, it was 18 months. I think it was sometimes twice a month, and then sometimes once a month.
So they come in and they go and they break down, does everything look good here? Okay, what changes? Get some input, get some feedback, seek guidance, come back with some change. Does this sound this? Okay, let's go here. But it's a visionary document. It doesn't, we're not mandated to do what's written in there because there is a lot of items. I think there's 20 or 30 actionable items that they could take, and some of those fall on planning, some of those fall on park and rec, some fall to the borough, some falls to the board of supervisors, some falls to the administrative staff of the township, some fall to volunteers, and that might be finding ways to put shade trees into the community. Just something that we would like to see happen. The last
services.
Yeah.
So like the last one was encouraging trailways that were bikeable and multimodal, that you could bike, you could walk, you could, and again, that's just something that hopefully can then guide zoning, it can guide Saldo, that maybe in our ordinances we say, instead of sidewalks, we want a trail system. So, but as Tracy has clearly said, up until recently, these seats have majorly been empty. For 20, 30, 40 years, public engagement at the local level has been lacking. It's been rebounding. And our hope is that when the comp plan comes out, that members of the community will show up and provide their input. But if they don't, it's to whomever's left in the room to make the decisions for the community. So if only 2 residents show up at all planning and someone from the board shows up, that's the input they're gonna utilize to set the vision for the next 10 years here. Okay? And those are public advertised meetings. It's a very long process. Involves maps and data points and discussions, and you can go make changes and, do overlays and whatever you want to see if there's a better way to make Honeybrook Township look more like what you envision or everyone in the room wants to see it. Okay? I encourage you to go to the township website and read the comprehensive plan. There's a comprehensive plan and an open space and park one as well.
Okay.
And they deal with similar topics.
Okay. I think we could call for,
Motion.
do I hear a motion to close, or adjourn? That's the word.
I'll make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, now we are up here if you
Thank you.
actually want to come up and talk more or answer questions. That's fine.
Night, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.